enlisted sick men in the Canadian Army. And these were all volunteers who fought for a country that at the time denied them the basic rights and citizenship. So they were fighting for a new country that they immigrated to, but they weren't even considered citizens for that country. So imagine moving to a different place, dealing with a different language, different culture, but still saying that, you know what, I'm willing to put my life on the line for the freedom and values that this country, holds. And so that's the story of 10 men. And there's actually a documentary film that, if you guys know Omni Television, Omni Television is going to be airing that soon. He actually premiered his film at the 2011 SICK International Film Festival in New York. And this is just a program from it. It's about 45 minutes long, and it should be a full hour when it airs on TV. So that's coming sometime either before the end of this year, and that documentary is something to watch for, and tells more of the story as the researcher, Dr. David Gray, he travels back to Belgium and France, and he follows the story of Private Buckham Singh there and on the battlefield. So I've actually been to Vimy Ridge. I've had a chance to see the Canadian Memorial there. And you guys saw the number of different headstones or war graves that were in that image. Do you guys also remember, so I work as a medic. I work to actually heal and help people. And I think that's probably why I've stayed in and done it so long. My background was, I did kinesiology at McMaster. So I stayed in school and I've studied hard. And this job's always been a part-time job. Sometimes it's been full-time. I've actually deployed overseas as well. I've ran a healthcare clinic or a hospital in Cyprus. And that was the location that Canadians have been going into and out of Afghanistan. So before they go into Afghanistan and as they come out of Afghanistan, they enter through Cyprus, this country that's in the Mediterranean, and they get looked after for their healthcare needs. And that was one of the jobs that I did. So I work as a medic there. When I first enlisted, something that I want to show is a set of ID tags. So this is a piece of historical artifact now. The reason is it's kind of outdated. So the reason is, and I'm going to just show you on the SICK Museum website, you can see the different spellings for Private Buckham Singh and how it was spelled here. It might be a little small, but it was spelled B-U-K space and then a capital A-M Singh, and that was on his attestation papers. So when he first got sworn in or signed, it was also spelled, it's spelled 7 different ways, with a C, missing an A, B-U-K-U-M, Singh in the Toronto Daily Star. When he was discharged, he had papers that had it spelled B-U-C-K-A-M. And one of the other things, though, was he was actually listed as a Roman Catholic. So he wasn't even given, he wasn't recognized, the religion wasn't recognized, because they didn't know or they didn't want to list, his religion or recognize. Again, this was a citizen of Canada, this was a new Canadian that was denied those citizenship rights. So when I enlisted 14 years ago, on my ID tags actually, it says OD, and that stands for other denomination. So our story, or this idea of recognition, it just recently changed where I can now proudly say that the ID tags that I wear here around my neck do say SICK on them. But it only took, it's taken 90 years for this story to be discovered. And even, as recently as 14 years ago, we've still been, in a sense, shut out of telling our own story or living up to our historical, warrior sense, that Santsify aspect of being a soldier, and also being able to carry or proudly, have our religion accommodated. So one thing that the Canadian Forces is doing, and is a little ahead of, well, a lot ahead of the United States, is they allow for keeping the punchka cars, the case, and you know, it hasn't been an issue. So it's something that I'm happy to say that we're ahead of in the world. And you can see that it comes from the British dress regulations, the history of the British arriving in India and then, you know, using the Sikhs and their forces has, at least over the legacy of the Commonwealth, allowed Sikhs to participate in the Commonwealth countries in different forces that are there. So I'm just going to finish up, or at least open up the floor to any kind of questions. If you didn't get a poppy, I still have some that are up here. So I'm just watching my time. And the poppy is something that if you do have loose change in your pockets and you want to give a donation, it's going to the veterans that have provided the poppies, and we'll pick them up later. So, just a few facts about the Canadian Army, the Royal Canadian Navy, and the Canadian Air Force. Those are all parts of the Canadian Forces. And now you know someone, myself, and you perhaps, as I saw that show of hands, know others that have served in the forces, whether they're Canadian or not. And some have served many years ago, some across the Atlantic Ocean in Europe. You saw in the 2 World Wars. We also, the Canadians, served later in Korea. And more recently, over the past 20 years, Canadians have been in the Balkans, in Southeastern Europe. So you might have heard of Bosnia and the service done there. And more recently, Afghanistan in Central Asia, the past decade. And all other parts of the world. I had 2 friends return from Sudan. So we call them veterans, and many died fighting for our country, for a right to live in freedom, and for a better future for us, their families, children, and grandchildren. So every year, we remember what our veterans have done for us. So we have that special day today, and I hope a lot of you did commemorate or pay your respects at school on Remembrance Day. Today's a really special one. It's actually, if you abbreviate it, it's 11-11-11. So you guys are gathered today on a really special Remembrance Day. And since Canada became a nation in 1867, 2 million Canadian soldiers, sailors, and air personnel have served their country overseas. And more than 110,000 have died while serving. So each year, I just want to highlight a particular battle. Each year, Veterans Affairs highlights a particular group or service. And so this year, they chose the Battle of the Somme. Does anyone know about this battle? Anyone, some of the older kids or some learn about that?
Taken at Wimmy Ridge?
Yeah, this one's the extension.
That shot shards of metal and that wiped out all the men.
Yeah, so this is in the First World War, you're right. And so this is during the First World War, almost 100 years ago. More than 66,000 Canadians died and many more were wounded. And now you know that out of the 66,000, some of them were Sikhs, 10 of them that we've discovered. But their story is yet to emerge or be revealed. So this year we remember their sacrifice, including those who courageously served with the 1st Newfoundland Regiment. And that's a province in the Far East. And they served at the Battle of the Somme in northern France on July 1st. It actually happens to be my birthday, which is Canada Day. 1916 though, many, many years before I was born. The 1st Newfoundland Regiment though joined the British and other Commonwealth soldiers on the first day of this major attack. And right away more than 57,000 were killed, injured or missing on that first day alone. And the 1st Newfoundland Regiment also suffered heavy losses, losing more than 250 men. So the courage of these brave soldiers is recognized at a memorial in northern France. And each year on July 1st, the people of Newfoundland and Labrador pay special tribute to the incredible sacrifices of these men. So one of my travel stories, the military has allowed me to travel. If you believe, I've actually been to every province and territory in Canada. So I've been from coast to coast to coast. And part of the northern territories is mainly because of the military. It's kind of hard to get up there, but it's a really special place. I'm going to talk about some of the people that live up there a little later.